Okay. Uh, you're up, Kevin. Host away.
Oh, I am.
Yeah,
Hmm,
your
I don't
turn.
think I'm ready for this level of responsibility. Um, well, fuck. Welcome. Oh, welcome, children of all ages. All right. I have to intro my own Lost thing. I have to record my own intro segment for that now. Like they
Oh,
each
that's
have their own
right.
intro. Yeah.
Um, all right. I've interrupted your introduction.
Oh,
Introductus,
yeah. I was doing that.
interruptus.
Take two.
Yeah. Uh,
Did you nap?
no, I did
did.
not.
Great.
I did not. I started watching a show, and I'll talk about it in a minute.
Yes.
Before that, I suppose. Welcome to the All Pop No Culture podcast. I'm your host this week, Kevin. I am joined as always by Pete.
Hey.
Andrew is here this week with us, and Andy is off doing whatever it is Andy does. For those of you new to the show,
Andy Kachuk with.
yeah. For those of you new to the show, we're a pop culture centered podcast talking about mainly TV and movies, sometimes video games, sometimes music, apparently. And yeah, this is what you get. These three idiots is what you signed up for today. So this week we're going to kick off talking about what we've watched. And since I'm boring as hell, I'll start with Andrew this week. What have you been watching, sir? You've been off for 2 weeks, so you have a couple extra days to load up on.
I have.
Leading
I
off.
have.
Number 69.
So, as you can probably guess, basically there is a ceremony called the Anime Awards. Okay. Apparently they're done by Crunchyroll. And
Okay.
a certain anime that I've been talking about ad nauseum just won Anime of the Year for 2022. And that anime,
Netflix's Voltron.
Well, first of all, you actually triggered me because I unpopular opinion, but I couldn't stand Voltron Legendary Defender. I know you liked it, Pete. I know you liked it, but
I liked the original growing up. The original cartoon was the best.
Oh no,
I did
the
not.
new
I
one?
didn't like the new one very much.
Didn't like it at all.
It was okay.
I liked. So I dug its style. I liked the voice acting. I thought the machines looked cool. Like all that was dope. The storyline was just boo boo. I couldn't get behind it. Like it didn't hold me at all.
Yeah.
Like I didn't care. I think that's the biggest problem with the Masters of the Universe cartoon for me. Like the new one. I enjoyed the first season, but like the story is just like I'm like, I get it. I know it's a lot of Kevin Smith and you can really feel that in there. I'm just not liking I didn't dig it in the first season, and so I haven't gone back to watch the second season that came out or the next set of episodes. So I'm like, whatever.
And the other thing too, I wouldn't technically count these as anime.
Oh no, not at
I
all.
wouldn't even
No.
count Voltron, even though it was originally, a Japanese cartoon. I wouldn't count it as anime either. Not the current one, anyways. But I think with American animation, I think we're in an age of storytelling now where we may be turning a bit of a corner where the quality really has to go up. If you've seen, Vox Machina or Arcane, that the voice acting in those is just something entirely different, and the story level is entirely different. And so I think the standard's going to climb up. I haven't watched Invincible, but I know that's in that same vein too, where the quality's there. Like you have to. This is what you have to keep up with. Yeah.
It's not just the quality. I think one of the major differences, and I think you're right, it may be turning a corner because there are so many kids who have been exposed to anime now, and especially with this generation, it's not just it's not just giant robots and stuff. Like they're watching the anime that's like the kids going to school, like sitcom anime.
Mm-hmm.
I would call it, like that's what they're watching, because that's Japan takes that so much differently as an art form and a thing, and we still, like, you look at a lot of the American made animation, and it's starting to kind of get there to a degree. There's much more intricate plot lines and the storytelling, even in the simpler stuff. Like Guillermo del Toro did the whole trolls thing, Troll Hunter and Wizards, and it's this whole story that rolls in together and does this whole thing. It's, even though it's a very kids animation style, like computer generated, it's got actually a pretty complex storyline that runs through it with a lot of mature themes, and the story's very well told by the medium. And I think we are starting to turn that corner, but it's tough because the stuff that gets popular and where America's still is when it's like cutting edge comedy, if you will, like Family Guy, Simpsons, Bob's Burgers. Like they're still just there to make us funny and laugh.
Yeah, I mean,
or
you've got your network.
Did we ever talk about
versus? Yeah.
Well, no. Did we ever talk about? Did I ever bring up? I think I meant to, and I don't know if I ever brought it up. But like America the Motion Picture, I think it's called, on Netflix.
I think you did once.
I haven't.
It sounds familiar.
I feel like it's hilarious, but it is, like, it's well done. It's funny. It's great satire, but it's still like dick and fart jokes.
Thank you. All right.
The whole time, really, like straight up. And that's not bad. I love that, But then in the same vein, you get something like Big Mouth, which is ridiculously over the top, outrageous, and inappropriate for the people who actually should be watching it, because it is so touching and true, and there are so many good explanations about the emotions and the things that go on during those junior high school, early puberty years, that I think that it'd be great to actually, for kids who were like 14, 13 years old, to watch. The problem is, because it's Nick Kroll and what they do in the humor, and it's great,
it's so
but
adult.
it's so adult. It's all like, it's all about masturbation, and not in a way that like, look, do I want to talk to my daughters about masturbation? No, not at all.
But do you really don't. Kroll to talk to your daughters about?
No, not at all. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't, like, if she wanted to have that conversation, okay, we'll open that box. But that show tackles it in such a way that I'm like, it's too over the top.
Yeah.
With that, so that it's like it just veers out of the way. But that show is the perfect example of how we are starting to turn the corner, because there's so many real, like, not, I want to say adult themes, but they're not adult themes. They're just spot on recollections and portrayals of what people feel when they grow up. Like, I didn't feel everything that every character described, but there were things in every single character that I was like, oh shit, I remember feeling like that when I was 13. I remember thinking and doing dumb shit like that when I was 13. Like, all the things that these kids did. And so I think you're right. And it's funny you bring up Attack on Titan, and I've totally drowned you out and taken this off the rails.
He didn't say Attack on Titan. You just ruined it.
Oh, really?
Okay, couple things. First of all, I'm loving your energy. And I'm also
like, if you could dial it back about.
I'm gonna keep it contained, because also no, I'm gonna bring something up, but I'm gonna keep it contained. Okay, I think Euphoria is in the same category of something that would benefit like that age group, but there's no way they should be watching it, in my opinion. Okay. Now, going back though, as someone who actually loves mecha anime, okay, I will also say that anime's been taken over by non-mecha anime, and that's partly why I think it's more popular now, because I think it's more accessible to not just deal with giant robots, number one. So, but now
giant robots are so fucking cool.
They are fucking cool. So basically, number two, okay, the Tokyo Anime Awards basically named my other favorite, Evangelion. So Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 as like anime of the year. Okay. And that one was a deconstruction of the robot anime, because it wasn't necessarily robots. It's there, but it's like, it's a little different. And that shit.
It is.
Go.
No. Please finish.
Okay, so that shit was amazing because that. Okay, let me tell you really quick. I'll try to be super short with this. I discovered Evangelion back in 2004 or three. I think it was four, even though it came out in 95. Okay. And I remember watching End of Evangelion and Stars and going, what the fuck is this shit? Oh my God. What just happened? Everyone turned to Tang. Like, what's going on here? So I had to go back and watch the whole thing. And then they did the rebuild films, 2007, 2009, 2013 or 12. And then we had to wait all the way to 2000 mother effing 21 for the next one to come out. And then we finally didn't even get it until in America until like August of this year. So I remember waiting for this film for so long. It finally came out. It's the end of the entire thing, and it actually spans both the series and the movie from 1997 and all the rebuild films. And it was a perfect ending. It was goodbye to all Evangelion. I'm glad it won. It was validating. And the thing about Evangelion and Attack on Titan is these are anime that aren't surface. They aren't dick and fart jokes. They aren't, in my opinion, mass appeal. They are very, very deep, convoluted, and literally and heavy. I think a lot of people can't handle, frankly, like the depth of emotion and darkness that I think both of these titles really do. I think so. Again, I'm a bit of a dick when I see things like, oh, blah 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 Academy, whatever. Like, I don't get that shit. Like, I don't to me it's like the K-pop of like of anime, okay? But apparently it's really popular, okay? And character designs matter to me too. So like, I'm finally gonna give Demon Slayer a watch, fine, or even Full Metal Alchemist, but character designs matter. So for me, like Attack on Titan, you see Eren Yeager, the main character who got protagonist of the year, by the way, as a little bright-eyed kid in the first season. Now he's this dead-eyed, soulless, has facial hair, grown, character, and you don't really see that in anime a lot. So I think Arcane did it too. But anyway, I totally just finished like the latest episode of Attack on Titan, and boy, like I'm just telling you right now, what I just saw has never been done. Like, it's never been done. It's never been done in, I think, any narrative. None. It hasn't been done. So I just want this to stand as a record of, okay, when Attack on Titan goes mainstream, I was here first, motherfuckers. I'm not going to gatekeep it, but I am going to say that I was here first. And if you want to come and learn, like, learn my child, like the teachings of the scriptures, the sacred texts, like, yeah, come to me. Because, yeah, I've been down with Attack on Titan since 2012, motherfuckers. What's up? All right. That's the first thing I've watched. I can talk about other things, but that's
so
giddy.
On that note, and this is actually what I was going to bring up. I tried to watch Attack on Titan this week because I wound up watching a bunch of other stuff because you've raved about it and you've talked about it for a while, and I've seen it on Netflix. Only had the first season. What I discovered, Hulu has it all. Yeah, that's so. If anybody's listening to this and they are, I couldn't remember if you said Hulu or not. It's on Hulu. It is like next up in my queue to start watching.
And I think Hulu has both dubbed and non-dubbed for the entire run.
And please watch non-dubbed. Like, watch the subs if you can, Pete. If you can, but if you're too busy, I know it's busy because fine. Watch the subs, but I mean the dubs. But it's gonna be like, Aaron, like the voice acting is.
Oh, I know.
It's horrendous. It ruins the experience.
I've actually started with some movies, and God, the 9-year-old got me into it because she likes to turn subtitles on for anything. Why? I don't know. She's not deaf at all. So I have started.
Don't miss anything.
Like, I've started turning on subtitles for some stuff, and it's nice to be able to like see it and hear it too. And subtitles don't bother me like I thought they would.
Good.
In the past, it's great, and it actually helps sometimes with some shows like Ted Lasso. Every now and then, like, because my families were almost done with that, we picked that back up. We had stopped after a couple episodes. God, I love that.
Oh, you guys hadn't finished?
I've finished it. The rest of the family has. This is technically with them will be my third complete watch through.
Wow.
Of Ted Lasso season 1. Oh no, I'm in love with the show. I think it is the best thing that's been put on TV in the last 5, possibly 10 years.
Well, damn.
Easily, it's
for sure.
It's absolutely brilliant.
For me, especially if you look at comedy, it's. I still put Schitt's Creek above Ted Lasso because Schitt's Creek finished its story. Schitt's Creek had a full run. They did everything they were supposed to do. It was excellent for every single episode. And I think once Ted Lasso is done, I'll probably put that above Schitt's Creek. There's something very fucking magical about Ted Lasso. And I have the confidence in what Apple has done to say that it's going to finish. Like, they're not going to fuck it up. They're going to tell their story and finish it. Because this goes back to what we talked about last week, where people are actually creating series that when they start, they know it's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they don't have to cave to the networks anymore. So if you say my show is going to be 3 seasons and this is the story I have, in most cases, the networks and all the producers and everything are saying, okay, they're saying that's fine. That's what we'll do. And they're not stretching things beyond their means.
Yeah. They see there's an end point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think Ted Lasso went in with a 3-season plan. Always, like they always said they wanted to sell. Yeah.
Suffered from that. Maybe I'm sure if Tim Krang had his choice, he would have been like, no, Heroes is literally going to end with this 1 season and that's it.
You'll see when we get into Lost, you'll see there's a couple of at least episodes and parts where it's a little long in the tooth, where they were where you could tell the network was stretching them versus where they were trying to build the story. And you'll feel it, and then it'll click, because you can almost feel the point where they went to the network and said, we know where we're ending and that's where we're going right now, and fuck you. Like there's a defining, there's not like a moment, like you're not going to see it on screen and be like, this is where it changed, but you'll get that feel that all of a sudden it kind of shifts back into gear and starts working towards its logical end.
Now, before I pass the mic to the next person to talk about what they're watching, but they're not, like, my watch is like, I feel a little guilty. I feel like I came to school without doing all my homework. Is
you're in the right place, dude.
Word up.
This is the remedial class.
Woohoo! Hey, I watched Euphoria is also a show that I know people who actually talk to me, and it's crazy to me, but it's true. Like, they've told me straight up they're triggered by the show. Like, and I think that maybe the reason why they're triggered is because they've actually gone through some of the stuff that is depicted in the show, whether it's the drug stuff or whether it's the other stuff. And so I know one person probably is not going to continue watching it. Okay. That said, Zendaya in this most recent episode, like, she's getting the Emmy again. Like, she got her first Emmy from season 1, and season 2 was an episode all about her. It's not what's it called, a spoiler to say she's going through serious withdrawals and addiction of dope sickness. I mean, I didn't know it was that bad, but it was bad. And she literally, like, she does stuff in that episode that it was like a movie. It was like the whole episode was a movie, and I was like, damn. There was comedy. There was like, holy shit, is she gonna die? Like, it was like, you're fearing for her life the entire episode, pretty much.
I think I think TV shows that are like that, if a show can trigger you so much to the point where you can't watch it because it's so accurate, I think that's a good television show. It sucks that you're going to lose a viewer like that. But at the same time, like, that means they're open and they're honest. Like, I couldn't actually watch the series Dope Sick. We lost my brother-in-law to drug addiction.
Sorry.
And it is what it is. Like, we're all okay with it, but well, not okay with it, but but knowing what he went through, like, I just couldn't watch that show. I know I couldn't watch that show, and I know for sure my wife couldn't watch that show. So, like, we didn't watch it, even though knowing that it was going to be an excellent show and well done. But I think any show that is good enough to trigger people that went through that, it's at least an honest show. So for those of us that maybe wouldn't be triggered by it, at least it's giving us an understanding. Like, if you watched Requiem for a Dream.
I've been
like that's a one-watch movie. That's a one-watch movie.
There's no need to watch it. Okay.
No, it's funny, harkening back to another episode of this show, when Requiem for a Dream, for me, it was just like Clockwork Orange.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it once when I was younger. I watched Requiem for a Dream when it first came out, when I was younger, and I buried it in my head, and I knew what it was, and it had its own little compartment. And then one day, for the show, I watched Clockwork Orange again, and I had my reaction to that. And then I watched Requiem for for a Dream Again, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, this is that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing movie, but
It's
oh
a
my god,
it's tragically beautiful. Like everything about it is great,
yeah.
but fuck, it's a one watch movie. Like it's just it's you can't be a happy person and watch that movie twice. You know, it's just it's not it's not uplifting at all. Like I would never recommend anybody watch that movie if they struggle with like mental health or anything like that. It's a trigger type movie. Like it's hard to watch.
One thing I'll also say as a last thing about Euphoria, though, is it reminded me of my age because one of the characters, he's a dad. He's a dad, and he's definitely got issues. That's all I'll say about this dad. But I think Lost, in a way, this is all tied together. Lost was kind of a blueprint because it goes back in time, so you actually get to see what this character is about. So it goes back to him in high school. But why are all the songs that are playing in high school all from like right before our era? So it's all like In Excess, like Lenny Kravitz, and I'm just kind of like, man, like I am jamming to this right now, but like I feel weird jamming to this right now because it's just reminding me that I'm like the parents' age of everybody in this damn show. I'm old, but this is really more like class of 90, class of 91, class of 89.
Yeah.
But that's still within it's spitting distance from us.
It's close enough, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, the show nails it, I think, on a lot of levels. So highly recommended if you have a tough stomach, or if you're like me and you didn't necessarily get into the party and the drugs and all that stuff in high school and thought maybe you were missing out, but now you're thinking, maybe I actually lucked out. So yeah, that's it. I'm good. I'm gonna pass the mic.
So Euphoria are those 10, 13 episode seasons,
Yes,
or is it
okay? Very manageable.
And they're like the 45 minute.
Yeah, 45, 50 minutes on HBO Max.
Okay. It's one of those that, again, I keep meaning to watch. I love Zendaya. Like she
fired.
I mean, Bay Area represent first off, but she is like, you don't like when you see her and in the other stuff she's done, she's a different person in everything she does. I love her MJ. Yeah. Absolutely love her MJ in the Marvel universe. I loved her in friggin' the musical she did with Zac Efron and the Greatest Showman. I thought she was amazing in that. There hasn't been anything that she's been in that I've seen. Even the old, what was it? Was it a Disney Channel or a Nickelodeon show? I forgot which one it was.
She was on Disney.
Yeah. I remember my daughters watching that show. Whatever show it was that she was on, like we watched that, and I remember she's another. You could pick, and it's not just because they're like the pretty girl or whatever. You can pick on those Disney shows which boys and which girls, when they come out, have futures. Like where you will see them going on, like Bella Thorne. First time I saw her, I was like, oh yeah, gonna have a career. It was like almost like that in the Lindsay Lohan way. Like you saw her in those movies and you didn't have to know they were gonna push people on it. You're like, oh yeah, this girl's gonna have a career. How, whatever she does with it, she's gonna, or she's gonna at least make more movies outside of this Disney world at some point. So yeah, no, I'm really interested in Euphoria. It's one that have heard nothing but good stuff about.
Looking forward to your thoughts.
Yeah. So with that, Pete, since you haven't watched Euphoria yet, what have you watched this week?
Well, since Euphoria is on HBO, I'll start with one I watched. We were kind of reviewing it because it looked fun, and maybe I was like, okay, this could be fun for my daughter because we're a little loose with what we let her watch, but she's a nice porn, isn't it? So it's tough. It's called Sex Lives of College Girls on HBO Max. You would, obviously like, oh, it's Sex Lives of College Girls. It's funny. There's 12 episodes, and there's actually only 2 very specific sequences in those episodes that I look at that I'm like, No,
not for the
like
kid.
like they're, you don't want to say graphic because it's not like Skinamax, but it's on par with Girls. You know, like what they show in Girls or Sex in the City. There's a
Mhm.
little bit of nudity. There's some simulated sex, but it's a little bit it's a little bit more than like missionary. So you're like,
Wait, there's more than missionary?
That sounds like a song. More than
more than
missionary.
missionary.
More than missionary. Sorry, it was
It's a country song. It's not as good as you think.
So, but it is a solid comedy, and
Okay.
it's Mindy Kaling produced and wrote some
Oh,
of it.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
It like the characters are fun. They are tropey, but not
Hmm.
in the same way. Like you've got, um,
I feel like that's something that she's really good at. Mindy Kaling is taking those tropes and not making them shitty, like playing with them in the right way.
like so you've got the Indian girl who was the ugly duckling. Now she's away at college and she's going to have all these crazy sexual experiences, and she does, but she is also the one that has to stand up for herself over the course of the series about kind of some sexual assault that happens. And it's not I don't want to say it's not heavy, but it's not heavy. We're not talking about a rape. It's a comedy show. You know, it's inappropriate, but the way they talk about it is great. Like this guy presses his dick up against her back, and she's like, and she goes, and they're talking to the Title IX office, and she's like, and it felt like a squishy soup can. Like I can say that, right? It's like, does that have to be in the note? Like, it's funny the way they do it all, and I love it
Mhm.
because she's trying to get on to the Catullin, which is this humor magazine at the school, and then you've got the bitchy, like upper super wealthy girl at this Essex College is in somewhere in New England. I don't think they ever address exactly where it actually is. Um, it's it's really funny that like the okay, I started saying the blonde girl. She's the rich, bitchy, upper class girl. Um, no, you know what? I'm gonna backpedal. I'm actually not gonna spoil this because I think people should go and watch this. There's
Huh.
only like I think it's 11 or 12 episodes. They're 45 minutes apiece. They go very very quickly. Like you don't realize that 45 minutes is going. And there's some solid comedy that goes on there. There's some really good acting, some really good character work, and I think we're also in this show starting to see some faces, like younger faces that are going to be the future of comedy. Like as my daughter's growing up, these are going to be some of these faces that she looks to. Like names that I'm like, "Oh yeah." Like they could be, and it's great because it is, I mean, yeah, representation matters. I know it's like a big thing right now, and it is so nice to see this viewpoint from a young woman's way. And even if it's not exactly how freshman girls talk, it's hilarious because it says, "Hey, no, at least in today's modern day, sex positive women say bizarre shit like I'm gonna go get some D." And like and talk in the same way guys are supposed to talk at that age, and that it's just this kind of universal thing. And I like, and again, it is to Mindy Kaling's credit because I know, like, you listen to it and you hear her voice in it, and not just in the Indian girl, like
Mhm.
in a lot of the writing, you're like,
Yeah, she
oh,
is a very. It's like the girl that does Miss Maisel and Gilmore Girls. Like
mm-hmm.
you can tell when there are some people you can tell when that's their show. You
Oh yeah,
just
I
can.
can tell. I can tell Aaron Sorkin.
Hmm.
Anything by
Hmm.
Aaron Sorkin within 20 minutes of watching it, I'm like, oh, this is an Aaron Sorkin. Like
Hmm.
if he's not credited on here, if I'm not, I'm like instantly on IMDb. I'm like, oh, there we go. He's got a writing credit on it. Like
Hmm.
same thing with like Dick Wolf, a Dick Wolf TV program.
That's true. That's true.
It
Although it's harder
they
to tell these
all of
days
them.
since 60% of network television is Dick Wolf these days.
That's well, yeah. They're bringing back the original Law and Order
Yeah, yeah.
for
Like they brought back the
20.
original CSI.
Exactly. Well, we've got Jack McCoy. They got Anthony Anderson to reprise his role as Bernard.
Hmm.
They've got some Cameron Manheim.
Oh,
isn't
nice.
on it this time. She's always, she's always big. The other two, I don't know who they are. We'll see.
Man, I just gotta jump
Anyways,
in. They need to bring back New
please.
York Undercover, man. New York Undercover was a Dick Wolf show as well, and the only reason why that show got canceled was because the two stars wanted more money.
Yeah.
So they just killed off Torres, and then without Torres, it's like you have no show basically, and then it was over. But like, I think especially now in this day and age, I'd love to see like what a New York Undercover would be like in 2022, because 2022, 1995, different eras, but crime will always be crime. Hip hop will always be hip hop. I think there's something to be said there. So anyway, he's totally reminded me of that. Dick Wolf clearly knows what he's doing, because if he
New
did,
York Undercover,
yeah,
was a dope show.
it was appointment.
Love Malik Yoba. I think, and this is one of those tough ones where you talk about stuff like this because it's like, oh, why shouldn't they have asked for more money? They shouldn't have asked for more money yet.
It was
on
yeah,
that
it was
show.
only like 2 fucking years. Like slow your
Yeah,
roll. Like stop.
yeah, it was like it's like this isn't. I'm like I hate to say it. In 1995, we've got a show in prime time that's doing well with a black and a Latino lead, two Latino leads. There was
yes.
like I'm like, and it's doing well. Let it roll for a couple of seasons, bro, and then I'll write some letters with you and say, yeah, pay these fuckers more.
Yeah.
But like,
he's like, this is about the money. This is not about representation. I'm Dick motherfucking Wolf. I got like 5 other shows. They're doing just as fine. Bye. And that's
speaking of people holding out and not getting paid and the show being in trouble, they are bringing back Futurama.
Yep.
But they don't want to pay. They don't want to pay what the guy that did the voice of Bender is asking, and fans are like, "We're not going to fucking watch."
Yeah.
They're like, "Go ahead and bring it back. We're not going to watch it without John. Is it John DiMaggio?
I think it's John DiMaggio. Yeah. Just pay him. Pay the fucking man.
Yeah. You're going to make your money, so just fucking do it. So what else you got, Pete?
On let's see. Oh yeah, also on the HBO Max, we've got another season of The Righteous Gemstones in full swings.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't watched the show, it's a look, if you will, behind the scenes at a family, the Gemstones, that are these preachers in the South, the giant mega church. You've got Eli Gemstone and his 3 kids, who are John Goodman plays, Eli Gemstone, his 3 kids, Danny McBride, Adam Devine. I'm forgetting the girl's name, and I feel really bad about that because she is fucking amazing. You hate the character, and that to me, like you were talking about, Kevin, you were talking about things when you spot on something. That to me is one of those, like, when someone is doing an amazing job at a character, if I hate that character, I'm like, oh, you're on fire. If you're eliciting that kind of response from me, you are doing something absolutely right. Like, you are triggering the hell out of me with this. Like, I feel so bad that I forgot her name. I should just look it up. But she's like, Danny McBride, oddly enough, is good in this. And you hate all 3 of the kids. You're supposed to.
Yeah, they all suck.
But Danny McBride, I hate him, but at the same time, I feel like, I don't want to say he's lost a step, but I don't hate him as much as I feel like I should. Like, you hated him in Eastbound and Down. Like, he was just a despicable.
Is it Cassidy Freeman? Cassidy Freeman's the other
guy? I think that's who it is. Yeah.
I fucking love her.
She was Judy. Yeah, she is just amazing. It is just no. Cassidy Freeman is that's Amber. That's his wife.
Oh, okay.
It's Edie Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah, Edie Patterson. Oh yeah, she was a groundling. She was Fran in Knives Out.
Oh,
the sister in Knives Out. In, let's see, what else have we talked about her that we would probably know? Because I know she's been in something else that I've seen her in. She's done a bunch of like voiceover work too. Oh yeah, she's Miss Amy in Troop Zero, who I believe is one of the judges at the jamboree that they all go to, which I know we've talked about that in before, but again, if you have not watched Troop Zero on Amazon Prime, stop this podcast, go watch it, and then come back and listen to this podcast feeling like a better person because you've watched an amazing movie that didn't get near enough talk as it should have. And I talked about that ad nauseum on the episode when it came out. But Righteous Gemstones, it's a fire season so far. It's very interesting. You hate, oh my God, the kids, they do ramp it up even further this season. We're getting a look back at Eli's past as the professional wrestler, and what kind of comes out is also kind of a thug for a loan shark. So it's a very interesting past. You've got Eric Roberts, who comes back as kind of one of his old running buddies. So there's a lot that goes on so far early on in the season, and this is where Danny McBride actually does start to take it over the top, and you really hate his character, but his wife's character Amber actually starts to step it up, and you kind of find yourself, and it's only really been over the course of the last episode, you found yourself kind of cheering for her, being like, oh, finally, like, you're not the smartest peanut in the turd, but you are the brains of this fucking outfit. And it's nice to see that you seem to sort of be taken over to some degree. Adam Devine's character, Kelvin, oh my God. He has started this weird, like, he moved away from the youth ministry. Like, they even make mention that he started this, like, muscle bound bodybuilder. Like, it's absolutely fucking insane. It's just nutty Fruit Loops bananas. But it is, if you're a fan of the show from the first two seasons, you will love this season so far. It's over the top as the rest of the other two seasons have been, but it's not so far over the top that it's gone beyond the farce that it is. Like, it doesn't take it too far that you sometimes with some of these shows, like, and this, I think this is what it is with Eastbound and Down that kind of took me out of it. With some of these shows, and I think it is with anything that is kind of this style, you have to be able to still believe on some degree that way out there in the fucking crazy wild unknowns, someone like this could actually exist. I think in Eastbound and Down, and even so a little bit in Vice Principals, I think he hits a point where he goes beyond believability that a human being, that this could actually be a human being. Whereas I believe that this guy somewhere exists. There's a rich version of his character on this show somewhere that actually exists. Like, I've known grown men that exhibit some of these behavior characteristics that I'm like, whoa, oh yeah, like, he could be a real person. So I would say definitely pick up the newest season of Righteous Gemstones. Then I'm going to swing over to actually, before I swing over to that, I'm going to dive into this one because this is going to take me a moment because this is a little bit of a love letter here.
Aww.
Yeah. I went and saw in the theaters Jackass Forever with Opie and Alex and Dave of the show here, and it I had wound up knowing that I was going to see this. I randomly, on a day off, I think it was like my weekend off, so I watched the first 3 Jackass movies with my 9-year-old daughter. Now, I did remember that there's a whole lot of full frontal male nudity. And so I remembered there were parts that I was just going to be fast forwarding to, because the 9-year-old only really wants to see people get hit in the nuts and, like, the hands hit him and people get shot out of cannons and the fucking bulls. She thinks this shit's hilarious. Like, she loves to go and watch slam videos, which scares me to a degree. But that's a whole nother episode, another story. So I went back and watched all these, and in watching them and kind of knowing what these guys have been through with the death of Ryan Dunn and kind of the fallout with Bam and all of their kind of struggles with sobriety for the most part. Jackass Forever is the best Jackass movie so far, easily. It's very interesting what they did, and I really have a feeling that we're going to see a new Jackass TV show.
Wow.
Because they make mention, Aaron, he makes mention a couple of times too. So we have all the usual suspects back. We've got Johnny, we've got Steve-O, you've got Aaron, you've got what's his face? Blonde guy. Anyway, you've got all the usual suspects. Wee Man, Preston, minus of course Bam and Ryan. They make mention a couple of times because what they've done is they've brought in, I think it's 4 or 5 new cast members. And some of these people are from YouTube. Like there's a guy named Poopy. There's Jasper. There's a lot of good talent. There's even a female. And what they made mention to is, like Aaron said it a couple of times, that they're kind of passing the torch on to these guys. And you see it. And you also, there's something about it this time, a lot of stuff. And it kind of almost makes me want to go back and watch the first 3 again after watching this one. There really is, they did a really, really good job at showing some of the behind the scenes stuff. First off, these guys seem like they were having fun that they haven't had in years, because they haven't.
Sure.
And you really understood what kind of weird, sort of dysfunctionally odd family group this little tribe had created for themselves. Like they were these nutty fucking whacked out dudes doing this ridiculous ass shit, and people were digging it. I mean, the movies, let's be real, all of these movies, other than the intro and the closing, which even those, the production budget on those, you're making this movie for at the most $10 million. Like the budget's on it's like nothing. The stuff that they do. All the stunts are just fucking out there. It is worth it if you like. So I'll give away the one thing in the open. Like I talk about, like okay, the stuff that I have to fast forward with my daughter, because it's I'm not afraid of my daughter seeing a penis. I just think in the right context, in the right frame. She doesn't need to see Chris Pontius's dick and balls poked through the model of a city street, and he's painted them up to look like Godzilla. And they move this model along in his dick and balls. Like, you're getting close-ups on it. So you guys never watched Jackass or the Jackass movies. So you're like, it's just this goofy shit. Like, okay, one of the ones, there was one that I didn't catch when I was watching with my daughter that is hilarious. So they're at it's at the hotel that they're all staying at somewhere near a shoot, and Jason Acuna, Wee Man, is a dwarf, right? So you've got the camera and it's looking into this conference room, and there's like some sort of sales meeting going on or something, and all of a sudden the door on the other side of the conference room opposite the camera opens up, and a naked dwarf walks into the room, jumps up on a table that all these people are like, like getting all these, and just walks through the room and waves to everybody, pops down and walks out. And these people's reaction, like, it's just silly shit like that. And I missed that one, so I was like, oh well, missed that one. It is, again, if you're not a Jackass fan at all, this movie isn't going to be anything to you or for you. But it is the perfect love letter for Jackass fans, because it is called Jackass Forever, and that's why, like, I feel like they are now there, or there's going to be another movie, and it's going to be kind of soon. Mm-hmm. Or there's going to be, like I said, another show, and you can tell some of the old guys are still going to be there. like Aaron and a couple of others that I don't know if they have anything else to do in their lives. Like this, they're still going to come and do this show. Um, but like you can tell, this is Johnny Knoxville's last one. Maybe he'll make some guest appearances, or he'll just be the EP. But he's not going to do anything like this again. Like he broke his wrist getting tossed by a bull.
Ouch.
Yeah, like it's but it's a fun movie if you like Jackass. If like one of the okay, so here's a perfect example of this show. I think it was Steve-O, one of these new guys, Poopy and Poopies, and Aaron McGehee, and it's like it's a trivia show that they're doing, and Johnny Knoxville has a console, and it's got 3 buttons, and each button launches the punishment for one of these 3 guys that are getting asked the questions. Well, they're standing there in their underwear, and they've basically got an air ram, that they use to like make guys fly through the air
Oh no.
on movie sets. So okay, so an air ram, it's basically like a spring air loaded like push bar that
Okay.
pops up, and so like when there's going to be an explosion and people have to fly through the air, you hit that mark, they hit the air ram pushes you, and so you can fly like 10 feet through the air and land on like cushion mats. Well, at the end of the air ram for this, they had a flip flop, and the air ram would just come up and slap you in the balls.
Oh shit! That can hurt you.
Yeah, it could. There's a lot of good stunts like that. Like Aaron, you really feel like he's abused his genitals for the last time. Like one of the things they showed in the previews was when a girl like pitches a softball uh into his he's like standing there in a cup, and she's like a college softball pitcher, and she just drills him dead on in the nuts, cup on or not, with this thing. Well, there's actually like 5 or 6 different cup tests, they call it, that they do, and that's actually not the worst of them by any stretch of the imagination.
So I was just gonna say, like, I love what you describe about the movie, because I think there's also, like, for me, it reminds me of how Scream is from that same era, and they've already
Yeah.
greenlit another film. So it's like the film did so well, they're already making a new movie, and they absolutely had that pass the torch thing, because Sydney is no longer really like the main character, but Sydney's absolutely still there, and I think that that's what you're describing with Johnny. And I saw the Jackass preview in front of Scream. So I think a lot of cool synergies happening right now.
Yeah, I think they're going about it the right way. I think they're saying this is a great property. We've
Yes.
got a world full of YouTube stars and people and TikTok people that want to do these goofy ass things. Fuck it, come on, let's do it. And you could tell to some, like, these were like, I almost feel like there was a contest that nobody knew about it, and these were the finalists, and they're like almost in some ways putting these guys through the paces and giving them a little bit of a like a test run at some things, because the final stunt that they like, the final whole segment that they do, you feel like is a graduation, because it's insane
And yeah.
what they do to these people. Absolutely insane. But it is like a graduation moment for them, because a lot of it is like, you also don't realize they give you a little bit more of kind of the, not, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but like you never realized these guys used to check in on each other, even though they were abusing the hell out of each other.
They
Like
care.
they were a little family where they cared about each other, and like you realize, like, well, first you also get to realize that Jeff Tremaine, the producer of these shows, was a fucking psycho, because he like, because they let you see Tremaine go, no, we need to do it one more time. We need to do it again so that they can get another cut on it. And you're just like, oh my god, you can't make them do this again. There's no way. And they do. And but they, like, they're like, he talks about it, because what happens is when these guys get on set, it's like all holds barred. You don't know what's going to happen. There's a prank around every corner. You don't know if someone's going to punch you in the balls, if you're going to get hit in the face with a handful of flour, if there's suddenly going to be, like, Eric Andre got hit in the face with it. So what they do is they have these little it's like an exploding balloon bag that comes out, and like it like punches you, but it doesn't really hurt you, right? But it dazes you, and it hurts and gets you. Well, Eric Andre got popped by one, and so they knew they were on there. And so he was a good example of one, and of this that you saw this time. And so what they're saying is, by the end of the shoot, you're really surprised if you can get anybody with anything, because everybody is so fried and burnt out and like on the edge and watching and waiting for something around every turn. And you really see that, and you see them kind of check in with each other where you're like, you doing okay? You good? All right, let's go. You think you can do this? Just you really see the whole family vibe of the Jackass crew. Anyway, I have prattled on about this enough. Go see Jackass 4. If you're a Jackass fan and you haven't seen this movie, the fuck is wrong with you? I wasn't the biggest Jackass fan before this. I enjoyed it. I thought they were fun. This one was really, really touching and really kind of something special for the genre, if you will. Fail videos. I don't know. I don't even know if you want to call it a genre. It's guys getting hit in the nuts. It's a guy getting a snapping turtle biting his dick. It's a guy getting shot out of a cannon. It's like, if you're fans of people getting antiqued, then you need to watch this movie. And even if you're just a casual fan and you just kind of followed it, one of the things that one of the things that Jackass has always been brilliant about, and this movie is no exception, the sound direction is absolutely perfect. The soundtrack department hits it out of the park. They picked the exact right music and got the exact right songs for the exact right moments in this movie. Like, it all matches up perfectly. There's like, I can remember there's a moment where I forgot the exact stunt, but I remember thinking this thought during the film, because I'm watching it and all of a sudden, like, it goes from like stillness and quiet to complete chaos, and they play the song "Where Eagles Dare" by the Misfits. And if you've never heard the song, look it up. Eagles Dare by the Misfits. It's just when the drums start in right away, and it just goes right into this guitar riff, and it's just real fast, aggro, early, like post-punk, actually pre-punk hardcore. And it's really like, it fits the moment in the movie perfectly. And there's so many songs throughout that do this. But I will digress off of Jackass Forever. Just go and see it. It's worth it. Watch the other 3. They're on Paramount Plus, which I was still subscribed to and didn't even realize it. I had deleted the app off my Apple TV, so I was happy to go back and download that and log in. Then we pop over to Amazon Prime, and I watch the rom-com I Want You Back with Charlie Day and oh, dude, why did I blank on her name? Jenny
Slate.
Jenny Slate. Yes.
I like her.
She's really good in this. He's really good in this. It's a good romantic comedy. It's fun. It's passable. It's not great. The two of them have super chemistry. It's like, all of them, they're all super predictable. You know exactly where it's going to go when it happens. Like, there's no surprise. It's just like, there are a couple of things throughout that I was like, oh shit, I didn't see that happening. Like, I expected it to go one way and it didn't a couple of times, but the overall outcome of the movie was incredibly predictable. Like, exactly what's going to happen. They're going to end up together. It's going to be hijinks ensue. It's going to be some goofy ass thing that brings them together. It's dark. It's dark. It's not for everybody. Spoiler, things happen. Boy meets girl, blah 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 blah. Jenny Slate is telling Charlie Day earlier in the movie that they're talking about like, when you put your mask over your face when the airplane is going down and the mask comes up, and Jenny Slate talks about how it's romantic to her, the idea that you put it on someone else first. Like, that's love. Do that, even though you're supposed to put it on yourself and then help your children. It's like, no, nobody's gonna do that. They're gonna put it on their kids, or they're gonna put it on someone they love before they're gonna put it on themselves. And Charlie Day is like, no, you don't do that. Da, da, da. Cut to the end of the movie. Charlie Day has figured out that he loves her. Spoilers, but you're gonna see this if you watch this movie. It's worth it. If you like romantic comedies, first off, this is a great movie to watch. It's not a bad movie. It's very predictable, like they all are. But you see what's going to happen through the movie from the beginning. As soon as the plot is hatched, you're like, okay, and the plot is basically that Charlie Day's girlfriend breaks up with him because he's boring. Jenny Slate's boyfriend breaks up with her because she's going nowhere and kind of aimless. He finds this girl. She finds another guy. Charlie Day and Jenny Slate meet up and hatch a plot where Jenny Slate's going to break the new, his ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend up, and he's going to do what he can to break up her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend. So you know how that's going to turn out. Like it's traditional rom-com fare. Hijinks are going to ensue. Anyway, at the end of it, it's really sweet because he knows he likes her. She's so hurt by the whole situation. But then they're on the plane and they wind up sitting right across from each other. They hit a pocket of air. The masks drop down. He puts her mask on her first before he puts his own on. And she turns over and looks at him and, okay, we love each other. Boom. And it ends. And it's actually a really cool ending for a rom-com. We don't get a montage. We don't know how, like, it's just, okay, it's happily ever after. You could tell, and that's just it. And they don't bother with any of the, fluff that comes along with it. It's a good romantic comedy. It's passable. It's fun. I like, Amazon's billing it as like one of their bigger movies right now. I don't think it's as good. If the critics are really raving about it and, they're saying what they're saying, it's good. But I mean, it's not up there with like, the Notting Hills and the, those real like classic romantic comedy, Harry Met Sally. When you think of like it's good. It's easily better than like say a 27 Dresses.
Totally random Marvel related factoid. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I knew Jenny Slate from House of Lies with Don Cheadle, so I always thought she was kind of funny and kind of pretty. Then I heard that she was dating Chris Evans. Apparently, one of the reasons why they broke up, or at least why it didn't last, was she got sick and tired of hearing people saying, why the hell is Chris Evans, who's like a pimp, with plain ass Jenny Slate? Isn't that crazy? But apparently that was like a thing. Like she had to endure that.
Yeah, I get where that would get old. It'd be shitty.
Which is really kind of sad because Jenny Slate's is a perfect example of me for a woman who is like, she's not an unattractive woman. Like she's an attractive woman.
Yeah, she's cute.
But she opens her mouth and starts talking and being humorous, and she instantly becomes prettier to me. Like I dig that about a woman. And she's one of those women that like that like you're all of a sudden you're like she goes from like Sarah Silverman, pretty, but Sarah Silverman starts talking and telling jokes, and I'm like, yeah, you're fucking hot now. Like your sense of humor like makes you even sexier and more attractive than you were. And so it works. See it if you get an hour and a half and you're feeling in a rom-com mood, or you're trying to watch something with the wife, or it's a Netflix and chill kind of thing, it's a good movie. It's not bad. You hate the people you want to hate at the right times. You again, don't want to give it away because it does have some fun little twists that you're like, what's coming, but at the same time you're still like, okay, I want to see what they do with this. Like this is the old kind of thing. And then also, so yeah, I want you back. See it. It's worth it, but don't be expecting like a classic romantic comedy that you're going to want to, watch over and over and over again. I watched all of a series that I surprised myself by wanting to see, and was incredibly surprised by the series itself. I watched Reacher.
Yeah, that was going to be on my list. I can finally get into the Pete show. Fuck.
Yeah, sorry. I knew I told you I had a bunch on this time. Yep. But this is the last one here, and so this is how I'll segue into Kevin.
This is our
I will.
transition.
I'll say this, and then I'll let you take over and just chime in where necessary. I was incredibly surprised by how much I liked this series. Like it had me wanting to like it was a binger. I did it over 2 days just because they're hour long. I think there's only 12 of them or whatever.
I think there's 8.
But is it 8? Yeah, it's even
Mhm.
shorter than that. It covers. So first off, Jack Reacher is this ex-military. Well, yeah, I'm gonna let Kevin go into that. But I'm really surprised at how much I liked it. It was really good, and how much I actually liked the character. Like I kind of want to go read some of the books now.
There's
And
like
it's
27.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like 18. I think it was.
No,
I
no,
looked
I
at
think-
yeah,
I
like
think
some.
it's-
Is it 27? It's some ridiculous amount of books.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot.
Where you're just like the fuck, like it's like James Patterson, Alex Cross novels.
Mhm.
Like how many of those fucking things are there? It's the same kind of thing. And so like if they do this at 8 episodes at a clip, I could actually see them sustaining this show doing like one book at a time.
Mhm.
But I'll hand it over to you, Kevin, and just pop in
Yeah.
as you go. But I was really surprised, man.
I saw the Tom Cruise movie Jack Reacher back in the day, and I really enjoyed it because I never read the books. So it was really interesting to find out after the fact that the writer of the book was like, "Yeah, that's not my guy." 'Cause Tom Cruise is like 5'6" and like small, like he's fit, like no doubt. Like I'm pretty sure if I got in a fight with Tom Cruise, he'd kick my ass.
Oh yeah.
But he's small, and in the comics, Jack Reacher, like they describe him as like 6'4" with hands the size
He's
of turkey.
6'5".
Like
Yeah.
he's supposed
Like
to be huge, and this dude is fucking huge. Like there is zero question that this guy is a
jacked.
monstrosity. Like he's just massive, which is how he's described in the books. So like if you see this dude and you think in your head that how would I describe this guy, that's in the books. So still I haven't read the books.
It's interesting. See, I've never seen the movie, and it's interesting that they chose to go with Tom Cruise, other than it just being a vehicle for him. That they thought, oh, we can start a franchise with this. I know it's what they thought.
He got the rights. I have a feeling he did it himself.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
It like the, and again, like I looked up the whole like Hollywood versus thing, like how close is it? It's actually a fairly close adaptation of the book. There's some liberties that are taken and some plot points that are taken here, but
very
with the
few,
main
though,
crux of the characters,
yeah.
But one of the main cruxes of the things is he's supposed to be a big dude. Like it's part of the storyline and part of his character and part of like his backstory, if you will. Like, and just part of his whole presence is that he is this giant fucking dude. He's supposed to be 6'5" and straight yoked. And then it trips you and surprises you because he's also like fucking Sherlock Holmes smart.
Yeah,
like dude is like
he's super smart,
crazy brilliant.
Yeah, and it's funny because sometimes in the series he's almost too dry a few times. Like he's a little emotionless a few times, but it's not bad. It works. I think it's probably more of a directing thing than an acting thing. But he's good. I like him, and everybody in the series is likable except for obviously the people you're not supposed to like. But yeah, it's a really good little bit of a mystery, a little bit of action kind of series. Essentially, he rolls into town. Going back to the movie real quick, like the original movie, the Tom Cruise movie plays like a modern day Western. Dude rolls into town, saves the day, rolls out of town. And you get that in a span of an hour and a half. So it really feels like a Western. This is 8 episodes, and it's actually still the same thing. Like, dude shows up into town and is immediately arrested because somebody was murdered, and the only witness saw somebody that was enormous, commit the crime, right? And so he gets arrested for it. Turns out it's not him. So the first couple of episodes are him trying to, well, he's not really trying, but he's making nice with the local authorities so that he can investigate this murder that he's being accused of. I don't want to spoil anything about it.
It's a show that's really worth watching.
Yeah, and there's some key things that build the tension of the investigation, and make him personally involved. So I don't want to give those away.
Yeah, and it's funny
but
because those things I'm gonna allude to it without giving it. That had the chance, and I think you could tell it was like the author's first book.
mhm,
That plot device had the chance to be really stupid
mhm,
and very hack, and they found a way so that it wasn't.
mhm.
Like they referenced it just enough, they used it just enough without beating you over the head
Yeah,
with that for motivation. It was like, okay, yeah, that's motivation, but it's not like always right there.
yeah,
And so I thought,
and then they were able to really tie it in later on too. Like it
yeah.
fit. Like it really could have been. It could have been a bad choice, and they managed to work it. So it worked out really well. I really like um, Malcolm Goodwin. He's the
Oh
black
yeah.
detective. He was on iZombie, and I fucking loved him on that. Like he was great on that show.
Okay.
And then Kristen Crook showed up. She was in Smallville
Well,
for
first
like
of
the
all,
first
I lit
6
up
or 7
with
episodes.
Kristen Crook. I loved Kristen Crook as
I love her.
as
She's
Lana
beautiful.
Lang.
She's talented. Yeah, she was great as Lana Lang.
You know what though? I'm actually really impressed with her, and it might just be impressed with her as a person. She is like aging gracefully
Yeah.
Yes,
in
yes.
Hollywood. Like she
Mhm.
doesn't look old, she looks her age, and I don't feel like she's had a lot of shit done to her face.
No, as a matter of fact, I think I'm pretty sure I follow her on a couple of socials, and I think she's got a little bit of gray in her hair, and she's just
Yeah.
like she's just like this is what's happening, so let's just roll with it. And she's gorgeous, I think,
Yeah.
because
Incredibly beautiful woman.
she's got to be close to our age. She's probably 40ish.
Yeah.
She's our age, maybe yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, straight up.
If only I had a way of
But
finding that out.
yeah, and then the guy that plays her husband, Mark Ben David, is from Dark Matter, which is one of my
Yeah.
favorite shows. And so like it was fun to watch because there was just this extra bit of nostalgia for me. I don't know that anybody else would have it, but
She's
this extra bit of-
39.
yeah, so right around 40.
She's getting towards us, but she's still a little younger.
Yeah, but yeah, and it's just a really good kind of semi-western cop drama. It takes place in Georgia, so
Yeah.
it's down in the South. But it's really good. Like, and it's definitely it's gonna fit your action genre. It's gonna fit your mystery genre. There's a touch of romance in there that that a show like this probably needs, but it wasn't great. But I did love her character. I really like that little girl. She was a tiny
Yeah.
little human, like compared to him, especially. She was a little thing, but I liked her. She was tough.
Yeah. Without being over the top and stupid. Like I looked at her like again, it's tough because like I said, I'm interested in reading the books now to a degree because they seem like there would be like those quick tear through them,
Yeah, if I'm guessing, they're probably
novels.
250 pages long. You know what I
Right,
mean? You're not
something like that.
talking an epic novel.
Yeah, a night or two, if depending on how much you want to stay up. But she's a very well written character to some degree.
Yeah, she's
tough
really
and
deep.
kicks ass, but she's not over the top.
Mhm.
Like I believed, like that was the other thing that was kind of nice, even though like there was some like completely over the top stuff. It's also actually pretty grounded in reality with a lot of the action and a lot of the cop stuff. Like it's funny because it actually had me Googling, can you fire a Desert Eagle even with the AE bullets one-handed? And yes, you can.
Well, if you're that big, you probably can.
I watched a couple of videos of dudes doing it on YouTube, and I was like, holy shit, because I would never even think to fire a gun like that one-handed.
No, dude, I would.
And so you see people do stuff like that in movies sometimes, and you're just like, okay, I know. I'm like, come on, like give me like just a little bit. I'm going to believe you're carrying this hand cannon, but the idea that you're going to hold it out like that, one-handed, and be accurate,
and not like, brain yourself on the recoil.
Exactly. I'm like, come on.
Because I think we talked
I watched
about
videos do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we talked about it a couple of episodes ago, and we're not weaponsmiths, right? Like we're not
Yeah.
master. But I know what a Desert Eagle is, and I know that thing will put a fucking hole in a building. Like it's a
Yeah.
monster. It's a hand cannon. Um,
Yeah.
and and so when they pulled that out, but it's such a hilariously perfect gun for him to have because he's so big. Like the only other thing they could have done that would have been hilarious is to give him like a fucking little pistol, right? Just to
Exactly.
it had to be one or the other. It had to be the gun that fit
Like
him,
a Walther
or
PPK, like some James
yes,
Bond, like Walt,
yeah,
like yeah.
something. And so it really
Well,
works.
because
But
the 50 cal cal handgun looks like a Glock in anybody else's hand, or at least like a Sig Sauer.
mhm,
Like like that's how big this dude is. And
yeah, he's huge. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, it was a good watch. I would definitely recommend it to anybody that likes. It's even, I would even call it like a lighthearted drama. It has its drama to it. You're trying
yeah,
to figure everything out, but it's not over the top. It's not Euphoria heavy. It's not, it's just a little bit of drama, a little bit of action, a little bit of everything.
if you're out
Um,
there with kids, it is something you could put on and watch with kids in the room. There's not a ton of language. There's a little bit, and there's
mhm,
really only a couple of scenes that are like the scene when they discover the police chief's body and
mhm,
what
that
they've
one's
done to that.
yeah, that's a
Won't
little
give that
graphic.
away because that's a fun one. But that was like I saw that and it even said it was interesting because it said rated TV MA for language and gore, and I was like, gore? Oh,
Yeah,
probably just some bloody gunshots, and then that scene comes up and you're like, eh,
yeah, yeah, that one.
eh.
And then you do have the one nudie scene, um, which is almost a blink and you'll miss it. But
It is, yeah,
um,
and it's good because it's not, and that's actually what I appreciated about it because it is very blink and you'll miss it because it's not gratuitous.
right, right,
It's not, "Oh, here's some boobies.
yeah,
You've waited this long. Here you go."
yeah, yeah. You paid your dues.
Like,
Here's the naked girl. No, it
yeah,
it comes and goes real fast, and they don't really waste time on it.
yeah.
So it's good. And then so yeah, so Reacher is a definite watch. And then the only other like new thing that I really started watching this week, um, I started watching tonight. It's called The Woman in the House Across the Street from the Girl in the Window, or across from, like it's got this monstrous long, and it's a um, Kristen Bell show. But I would definitely classify it's kind of listed as a comedy drama, but it definitely leans more into the drama than the comedy. I think Kristen Bell is naturally funny, so that works for
Yes.
her.
Mhm.
And I love her. She's great.
Same,
Um, but
but stinky.
it yeah, well, and it's funny because it definitely, and the name is there, but it definitely feels like The Woman in the Window, which was the Amy Adams movie. I think was Netflix specific.
Hmm.
Um, and the one with Amy Adams was terrible. Like I love her; she's a fantastic actress, but The Woman in the Window was a garbage film.
Mm.
Like it had started off with such potential, and then it just fucking collapsed. Um, and I talked about it actually on this show somewhere in an episode. I talked about A Woman in the Window, and it was awful. So this one is
Is that the one? Was
definitely
the woman in the window the one where she ends up like tied up in the room with the
no. So she's hallucinating everything uh, because her husband died. So there's a whole like funky montage when she walked into her living room, and it's the car accident.
That's
And
right.
then
Okay, yeah.
it ends with an epic fight scene on the roof in the rain, so where somehow on the roof it's been raining for 15 minutes, but there's 3 inches of water that
Yeah, you're
like they
telling me
can
about.
drown
Okay,
someone.
I remember you talking about this. Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible. Um, this one definitely is, well, not again, not overly comedic, is definitely a send up of that same kind of story. Like you start to get into it, and this girl, if you watch the trailer, she drinks a fuck ton of alcohol. She drinks like she has a wine glass that's literally as big as a full bottle. So she pours herself a full bottle of wine, drinks her wine, and then she takes her medications for depression. Because if you, I don't want to give it away, but if you watch the trailer, she's going through some shit, and so she's been given medication. Her doctor's like, don't take it with alcohol because it'll cause hallucinations. And so it starts to get into this whole, is she seeing things? Is it real? Is she just tripping balls? And she's a little unhinged, which leans into, I think, Kristen Bell's ability to be funny without having to be a comedic character. And it's just, I'm only halfway through it, so I can't say if it finishes well. I can't tell you much, but it's interesting and it's fun. Like I watched 4 episodes tonight very quickly. They're only half-hour episodes, and it was a really easy watch. So even if it's not great, it's at least entertaining and it's an easy watch. So I'd at least recommend it based on the first half.
Boom.
So yeah.
Good.
So that's how we keep things quick and concise there, Pete.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did. I got a little bit long-winded there, and I've been working on not being long-winded, and you saw how that's been going.
Yeah, it's not working at all.
Yeah, no. We saw the preview for that, and at first, because of its title, I thought it was going to be like some sort of comedy spoof takeoff on something, and then I watched the preview, and I'm like, oh,
yeah, it feels like 2 very different things, because the title, it would indicate that it's just a flat-out parody, and especially if you see that Kristen Bell is the actress, like
exactly
a title that long, you're like, but if you watch the show, when the credits roll in the beginning, so the opening title scene, they play it's some children's song about rain, but they do it in that minor key.
Go away.
Mama again another day.
Maybe, but they do it. Maybe that's it. But they do it in a minor key, and so it's really like ominous.
Yeah,
it's raining, it's pouring.
It might be that one, something like that. But yeah, it's definitely not a comedy, but it's, again, it's not a hardcore drama either. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. So, but yeah, if you see the title, and Kristen Bell, you expect it to be hilarious, like just
yeah.
And then you watch the trailer and you're like, this isn't going to be funny at all, and you're kind of right in the middle there.
Off kilter be a good descriptor then, maybe?
She's definitely crazy. Like, she's definitely going through some shit. And calling her crazy probably isn't the wrong thing. Like, she's literally gone through some shit, so she's trying to get her life in order. And
I feel like it did. There were moments though in the trailer where I feel like, okay, it's gonna be dark, but there are gonna be some funny moments in this show. Like, it's not a comedy, like whatchamabutt with what's his name? He's the hitman and he's doing the improv school.
Oh no, see, that one's funnier to me by a long stretch. Like, that's more
exactly
comedy than this.
Exactly. Like, it's like, that's straight up comedy, where I feel like this is, but it's still very serious to to some degree with the way they do it. But like, this is not like a Weeds or like that. Like, it is it's first and foremost, it's a like thriller kind of,
sort of, yeah,
noir piece, and there are some really, really humorous points punctuated throughout.
I think I really feel like if somebody else was playing the main character, they wouldn't even put comedy in the title. Like, it's just that Kristen Bell is naturally humorous, right? So the things that she does that are quirky are also funny. That's just who she is. Like, it's almost like if Veronica Mars grew up and became and had some shit go sideways and became an alcoholic and dropped pills. Like, she's a very housewife Veronica Mars character kind of thing.
Okay.
So, and there's actually even points where she does the Veronica Mars like voiceover.
Oh,
like, she's kind of explaining the things that have happened to her in her life that got her to where she is. So
nice.
Yeah, so it works. It works for Kristen Bell. Like I said, if it was somebody else, I think it'd be a different show. So,
speaking of show,
cool. I'm excited to watch that then.
You totally stole my transition, dude. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Well, take it away, Kev.
Wait, I missed it.
I will not. Speaking of shows, Yeah, see, it totally would have landed, and then Andrew just stomped all over it. So we won't change anything. We will edit. This will be exactly in the show as this.
He didn't hear it, so maybe the audience didn't hear it either.
Oh no, they did. I heard something.
Yeah,
I just didn't know what it was.
Damn it!
It's okay. It's just like when I cockblock Andy's story the other episode.
Me and Kev, we're like this. That's all.
Yeah, we're on the
that INFP thing, baby. That was fun. I think.
Yeah.
As far as I'm not sure if we're at a stopping point, but yeah.
No, I definitely think we're at a stopping point because it's almost.
Oh no, we're at a stopping point. Yeah, yeah. We gotta figure out how to end the show. I always feel like we should go back, like maybe we should stop and go, like, this should be our end point. We decide we're gonna end here, and we'll go. So Kevin, what did you learn on today's episode of All Pop No Culture?
I didn't learn shit. I learned we're a bunch of classless monkeys.
Andrew?
What I learned on this show is actually I am kind of wondering, no lie, like I know Pete, you actually went on for like a pretty long time, I think earlier on. Like that might have been 45 minutes. I mean, it was pretty extensive.
Yeah, I learned.
Like, are you a talker? Some people are really talkers. Like, if when they get going, they can get going.
Yes and no. Like, it's tough because I have been actually trying, like sometimes successfully, many times unsuccessfully, to kind of pare it down a little bit and get more concise. Because my wife has always said I very much have diarrhea of the mouth. Like, she told me when dealing with my daughters and trying to give them advice and explain like life lessons to them, she's like, you're actually very, very good about it. You just don't know when to stop. She's like, you continue to go and explain and explain and explain. And so like at one point, as we're going here, I was like, I'm still going, but I should see, I'm doing it right now. I was like, I should pump the brakes and let, because none of this needs to be explained. Let them watch it. It's fine. But I just kept talking because I couldn't. And I'm actually interested to see what the timing on that was. So what I learned tonight is that I could talk for way longer than I think I can, and not even realize it's been that long.
Crazy, right? Well, I learned that about you. Clearly,
I learned that I can sleep with my eyes open.
Oh, it's fucking phenomenal. I love it. All right, with that, Kevin, take us out of here.
Later. No. Yes, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for probably telling none of your friends about us, but maybe one. We'll take one. If everybody just tells one friend once a week, we'll have like 7 viewers in a year. So we really appreciate it.
I decided we're gonna take a stab at advertising here. I go to our Facebook page. There'll be a post when this episode drops. We're gonna go old school. I'm looking to form in as many areas of the country as possible. All Pop No Culture street teams. I'll send you out stickers. You can go up. I'm just joking. Yeah, have a week, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Later, alligators.
Thank you for pretending.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you for coming back.
Yeah. Oh, dude, always. I'll be back with the soundtrack one with Andy as well. So that's gonna be great.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's next week.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
We'll catch you next week.
So it's like we made this couple that's down in front of us, right? It's like me, my sister-in-law, her 2 kids, my 2 kids, my wife, my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, and her 2 kids. There's a huge group of us up there.
Going deep.
Now, it's not an embarrassing story, and the people I'm telling it to will appreciate it. Go to bed.
Aww, you're getting censored.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because she knows I am going to be walking at halftime tomorrow. Like, she doesn't, like, okay, so here's the story. So I'm sitting there, and I've got, like my chair is right, it's the last row, of this thing. So I'm right up against the thing, and I'm just kind of lean back, and all of a sudden, Nothing But a G Thing starts like bumping on the overhead, and it started going, and I just word for word, they wound up playing the entire song because it was a TV timeout. I did the entire song, both Dre and Snoop's parts, out loud, just sitting there, danced a little bit, did the thing. The people in front of us were like recording it, like they were having so much fun with it. And my wife was like talking to some people, and she talked to one of the Fox Sports guys that was there doing the thing. He's like, no, we've got footage of that. We had a camera on him.
Excellent.
Yeah, no.
See, like the rap you grew up on was different than the rap I grew up on. I lived in Washington. We had Mix-a-Lot, dude.
I like Mix-a-Lot.
Biscuits, or like My Posse's on Broadway.
Yeah.
I still bump that. So there's actually, if you remember that, there's actually, if you look it up, there's a song called "Big Ballin' with My Homies" by E40, and that's what he samples. Is like, and it's not even just a sample. Like, it's like, they play with it, and they Vallejo Bay Area funkify it out, but it's
one thing I would also say is
me and my calculation at home, away from home with that. Yeah, like you're just like, oh god, yeah. But E40, it's, if you like that, it's dope. Anyway, please.
Yeah, being from Canada, one advantage we had was, when you're living in like the United States, first of all, like one thing I got to drop really quick. When I was in New Orleans, I went to a club and they played nothing but bounce music. So for me, it was kind of surreal to be listening to like they were celebrating like the Hot Boys and like, Lil Wayne and like Master P. Like that's all you heard. I'm like, this is what it's like to live in the South. You don't hear any Jay-Z or anybody. It's all fucking this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in Canada, because we're outside, we got everything. So even though I'm in the East Coast, Halifax, Nova Scotia, we love Digital Underground. We love NWA. We love the East Coast shit. We love Sir Mr. Lost. That's how I know like beepers, like all those like regional hits. We got it all, and it was awesome. Even BC Boys, like, because I feel like they kind of switched coasts a little bit, like between the first album and the second album. Anyway, but you took me back with the Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's some early shit for me.
Mm-hmm.
Swaps.
Yeah, some good Swap Meet Louie.
And again, you guys both know that shit better than I do, as far as like, because I know a few.
Oh no, well that's
of course Vanilla Ice, dude.
Oh, okay. First of all,
you know what?
Play That Funky Music. I can do that. Well, actually, both.
Play That Funky Music.
Play That Funky Music was my one. That was my jam. Not I like the other one.
So I did like that. I like the B-side. It's funny you say that though, because I like the rap that I was into, because I was one of those Columbia House kids. I got my 12 CDs. I was like the only kid I knew that was listening to like Grand Poobah, Big Daddy Kane, Cool J, Nice and Smooth.
Yep.
Rakim.
Man, we should have hung out more in high school. Damn it. Holy shit.
Like I'm saying, like I knew guys.
If I had been in Pine Valley, people were. Dude.
Oh yeah, but like this was just what I listened to.
Yeah.
Like I was I saw Big Daddy Kane, Taste of Chocolate. He does this whole skit with Rudy Ray Moore at the end of that is just amazing. But that's a Father MC. Would you do for me? I mean, like exactly. And like I liked Hammer, I liked all that. But then like, and I still listened to rap as it went all through high school. But then I got into the grunge. I got into that punk wave that came out, and some ska. Dude, I loved Enya. You remember like Deep Forest?
Okay, yeah, of course, man. What was that name of the song? Anyways, it was a dude. That song in '94 was everything. Sorry,
but like that, like God, of course, everything was on the radio.
Lullaby. I was the name of the song.
Yeah. We're like, do you remember at one point we were all listening to Gregorian monks chant?
Yes. It started with sadness. That sad.
Yeah. So, de moi.
Yes.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
What was it
Well,
back?
then
Keep going.
that stuff, and so then I started getting a little bit into electronic music because I remember I got like Wipeout XL, and then Train Spotting came out, and that was right along the lines of like that music that I was listening to.
Mhm.
And I got I got into house and trance. In the meantime, I'm still listening to rap. I'm still listening to alternative, like college radio alternative, and like I'm still listening to everything, but I keep going in these I would go in these trends and these spikes. Yep.
Sorry, I'm just adding it to my shit.
That's why it's funny. Like I posted a meme of like somebody when they asked what kind of music I like, and it's just like all like these pictures of all these people photoshopped in, and I was like, and I laughed at it, and then I look like I love the Apple like made for you playlist based on the music you listen to, and every time I go through it, and there's a couple of songs that are on there that I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing this, but like it really does reinforce my statement that like my musical taste is relatively eclectic. I don't
Mhm.
listen to a lot of country, but there is some country that I really really like. There's some Tim McGraw and some Garth Brooks that I really really like. I'll admit it. I love the Florida Georgia Line song "Cruise,"
Oh,
especially
the
when
one
Nelly
with
jumps on it.
Nelly? That one's great. It's
Yeah,
so good. Have
I
you ever
love
watched
that.
the video?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hilarious. It's so great.
It's yeah, it is. Like I know to a lot of country people that is like a super cheese ball like crossover pop song, and I
Nah,
know
it
to
was
most
awesome.
people who listen, it's just a fun ass song. Like it's
Mhm.
just um but so like it's tough because I've been hoping I could rely on my daughter to supply me with like, okay, no,
Modern music.
this is what's new, this is cool, and she does with some things to a degree, but sometimes I have to like I've already kind of heard of it just randomly on my own. Somehow she's like, oh yeah, this is da, da, da. The problem is my wife and I have pumped her so full of like older music,
Mhm.
and it's what
Mhm.
she's been into, that's what she gravitates for, and she just knows. And like she'll it's hit the point where I know I've like played a lot for her, but it's hit the point where she's discovering some of it on her own, like not just through my wife and I, like because she'll have something on a playlist or something. I'm like, what the fuck? How do you know about this shit? Like
Right.
I think, and I know I had played it for her before, but her reaction to it at the time wasn't that big. But um I think it's called The Question by the When in Rome. Um
Yeah, I know.
I'm
That's
sorry, but
a
I'm just thinking up the right words to say. Oh no, they don't sound the way I've planned them to be. Like that whole vibe. And I thought I saw that on her phone. I was like looking at her music. I was like, holy
Well,
shit.
it's funny though
Like
when you're talking about your kids and music. Like we live in the headphone age now. Kids,
mhm.
everything they listen to is through headphones, so we don't hear what they hear. We grew up in the boombox age, dude. Like
Oh yeah.
your music was pumping through.
public.
What made you cool was your fucking boombox. If you had the dual tape boombox, you were already cool, right? Because you could record and fucking shit at the same time. And then when it got into the CD players, if you had a 3, a 5, a 10 disc changer,